Hi, welcome to the next session of SAP FICO. We'll continue the accounts receivable configuration part which we were left in the last session. The next configuration step is to create GL reconciliation account. As already discussed, reconciliation account is the general ledger account which is assigned to any subledger, as accounts receivable is a subledger of in FI module. We need to assign a GL to the subledger so that the entries or the values could flow from the subsidiary to the ledger accounts. So as we are doing accounts receivable, and in that we'll be creating customer GL reconciliation account, which will later on be assigned to customer masters. So to create the GL reconciliation account, we'll move to the SAP system. It's very similar to the reconciliation account we created in accounts payable for vendor. So we'll go to the transaction code to create GL master FS00, enter. Now in this case, to create a GL reconciliation account for customer, we first have to decide whether that particular GL is an asset or liability or expense or income for the organization. Customer basically is a current asset to any organization. That means it is a part of asset. So we'll be creating a GL reconciliation account in the assets, which will be assigned to the customer master. So to create the GL reconciliation account for customer, we first need to see how many GL accounts we have created so as to know what will be the next GL number which we will be creating now. So to do that, we can go for the search option, click to continue. Now you can see these are the number of GL accounts which are already created, and the series which is starting with 1 is related to assets accounts, in which 100000 is already created, 01 is there, 02 is there, that means 03 is not there. So we'll be creating now the next is 100003. You have to put the number over here first, that which one you want to create. So I will be creating 3. This will be for customer reconciliation account. Now if you remember, we created 2 customer account groups. One was service customer account group and another was finance customer group. Now if I want both the groups report separately for future reference, for example, how much billing is done, how much invoices have been booked in the service customer groups or to the finance customer groups, or how many collections have been done for the month in finance customer group or to service customer groups, we need to put 2 different ledger accounts, 2 different GL accounts to these 2 separate account groups, so as to have proper reporting of the things, of the transactions data, as well as to have a proper report which is easy to understand, and it will not make you to do much of Excel work in it. So we'll be creating 2 different GL reconciliation account for 2 different customer account groups. One is service reconciliation customer account and another is finance customer account. So the first I will be creating is 100003. Now go to create. As we already discussed that this GL relates to customer, so I need to select the account group asset, as customer relates to asset. This account group does not relate to the customer account group but to the GL account group, which we have done in the very second session, general ledger accounting. So moving up to the next, asset relates to balance sheet account. So we'll select the balance sheet. Need to fill the short description. If I am going for creating service customer account, so I will write it at service customers. And if I am going to have for service customers account, same short text and long text. So this is your description page. Moving to the control data. In this, the currency will by default always be USD, as we have did the global setting for that. The text category, you have to take star in this so that all the texts will be allowed. And you also have to select this posting without text allowed. Suppose in case any transactions take place which doesn't have any taxes in that, so the system will not restrict you to do the transaction if you select this post without text allowed. The next I will be selecting is line item display. Now these are the things which we will be doing for creating any GL account as of now. Now this is a reconciliation account, so we have to go to this tab, reconciliation account, for account type. So the type is customer, because we are creating this reconciliation account for customers, so I'll be selecting customers in this. And whenever we select customer, it includes the open item management itself by default in it, so we don't need to select this open item management because it is already included in the reconciliation account. Moving to the next tab, create bank interest. Now whenever we create a field status group, create a GL reconciliation account, there is a separate field status group for that. If you remember, when we created vendor reconciliation account in accounts payable, there is a separate field status group that is with the name of reconciliation accounts, that is G067. Double click on it, it will be selected on the screen, and this is what the selection you have to do while creating a GL account. So if you want to go back and check, you can go back to control data and check the things again. You can go to the type and description and you can check these things again. So I am creating this GL for service customer group, customer account group. Save it and your continue, and your GL reconciliation account has been created. One more thing is there, when you see this, couple of things you must know about FS00, that once you create this GL account, if you want to know about future in future over here, that who have created this GL. For example, creating a GL can be done by number of users on the client side, but at times you want to know who created this GL, when was this created, is there any change been done in that. So for that you need to go to this information, CA or COCD. Now the first information, C/A, means chart of account, and information COCD means company code. So any information change done at company code level for the GL account, that can be looked with the last option, that is information company code. You can click on it and now you will find a screen you can see, and in this you can have a look that this GL is created on 8/11/2014. The user for this is user 10. The chart account for that is 1000. currency is there, so you can have all the details. So in future, if you want to know who created this, was he authorized to create those jails or not, that can be checked. And is there any changes been done in the jail account? For that, you can go to this change documents, click on it. So you can see this is GL master. So 8/11/2014 changed by user 10. That's it. So this is how you can look after. One should know how you can check when the ledger account was created and who created it, what was the time and all. So this is how you create a reconciliation account. I created the service customer account group. Same way I will be creating for finance customer account group. So I will be taking a 4 after 3, and I know that the last GL account 100003 which I created, fourth one is very similar to that. So I can go for the template also, and I can copy 10003 descriptions and everything, and just can change the description for my next one. So can go to click with template. Over here you have to put the detail which GL account you want to copy with and the company code. So once I did it okay, you can see the details have been copied on the screen. I have not selected, but for 100004 the details by default changed. Now in this case I can change the description of the ledger account, and now I can make it as finance customer account. Rest of the things have been copied from the template, so even you can do the same, and now save it. So your both the reconciliation account has been created. So this is what relates to the creation of GL reconciliation accounts. Moving to the next, GL master record to be created in AR. Now we are done with the configuration. To run the different transactions related to customer, we need these different ledger accounts which has to be created in the system. First is sundry debtor reconciliation account, which we just created. Sundry debtor means the customer ledgers, that is the service reconciliation account we just created, and the finance customer account we just created, that is what is sundry debtors. On the income side, I need a sales ledger account so that I can make an invoice for sales, and on the other side I need cash discount allowed, and I need the bank GA on the asset side also. So we'll check back whether these things are there with me defined or not. So you can go to this and we will check whether these ledgers have already been created in the system or not. If not, we'll be creating the remaining ones. So while doing the transaction, I need bank, I need sales, I need service customer or finance customer GL account, that is sundry debtors. We have already created cash discount allowed, so every GL account is already created. We don't need any other GL account to be created now. Moving to the next. Now create customer master records. So customer accounts, as already discussed, is a subsidiary ledger of sundry debtors, and sundry debtors is a reconciliation account which comes under the head current assets, which is a part of assets. So sundry debtors means the service customer account or the finance customer account we just created. Now we'll move on to create the customer master records. So to create the customer master record, the path is over here. I will be going with the T code, that is the transaction code FD01. Moving on to FD01, enter. Now in this case, you can see this is the screen coming up with you. You need to put your company code correctly. Then you need to go to the account group, whether the customer master which you are creating will belong to which account group. So you need to select the account group over here. I need to search my account group, like one I created was finance customer group. So if I want to create the customer master in finance customer group, I will select this. Mind it, you don't need to fill anything on this second field, that is customer, because we have defined a number range to this customer account group, and that number, with the help of that number range, a customer code will be generated for this later on by the system automatically. So you don't need to fill this particular field. Continue. Now it will take you to the next page where you need to fill all the details. You need to fill the title, if it is a company, the name of the company, suppose it is Xerox LLC. You need to fill. Rest of the things are optional. If you wish to fill, you can fill the address, but one thing is mandatory, that is the country over here. So you need to fill the country, which is a must. If you want, you can select it with the list of countries in this software. You can go to see United States is there, so US we have selected. If you want to select the region, you can go to F4 and you can select the region as well. So what region of US it belongs to? Suppose it's belong to Florida. If you want to fill the address, you can even fill the address as well. If suppose the customer name is big, large, and you know a short form of that, so that short form can be filled over here as search term. So that could be Xerox. So this is the first field. Moving down, there are other fields as well. If you remember, when we created the finance customer account group, we made the mobile number mandatory. So if you move down, you will find that over here the mobile number is with this tick mark, that means the mandatory mark. You need to fill the mobile number over here. If you don't fill it, the system will not allow you to create the customer master. So you need to fill the number whatever you wish to. Suppose I fill it any number in it. Moving to the next is control data. In control data, as of now you don't need anything to be filled. However, if you want, you can fill the location, the industry and all, but however this is not needed. Moving to the next is payment transactions. In this you can fill the bank details related to the customers, the country, bank key, bank account, account holder, reference and all. So this is related with the banking details of the customer. Then marketing details. In this tab we'll fill the marketing details. What is the employee, what is its annual sales, regional markets, industry and all. Moving next is uploading points. So these things are not needed. For uploading point is not needed. Export data. If the customer is an export customer, in that case you need to fill the export details over here. And then if you know the contact detail of the customer, even you can fill the contact detail over here for the customers for future reference. So once you fill this all on the screen, then you need to go to this company code data, which is a most important part. So moving up to this, you need to fill this reconciliation account, which is very important and you need not miss it. So for this, we created this customer in finance account group. So we need to select the finance custom ledger account, that is the GL reconciliation account. So I've selected that account over here. Anything else you need to fill, nothing is required in this, however, because these fields relate to the different modules. Payment transactions, in this we fill the terms of payment, payment methods, house banks, with which bank we will be receiving the incoming payment, and correspondence details, insurance details, if the customer have got any insurance, the policy number, amount of insured, valid, and all. So if you fill these things, then you can go and you can save it, and your customer master is created. So you can see you have given a number over here 1000000, 1 6 times 0. So this is your most important code, that is the customer code, by which that particular customer will be identified. So this is how you need to create the customer master. Just in the same way, you can create one more customer in service customer group and proceed. So we created the customer master record. Now suppose, close it. Suppose I need to make certain changes to the master which we have already created. I want to now fill the address. I want to fill more details. At that point of time I didn't have any bank detail or any contact person's detail related to the customer. If I come to know later on for some of the details and I want to fill those details for that particular customer, how can I fill it? So to change the date, the master records, you can go to the transaction code FD02. Now if we move to FD02, enter, you can see the customer over here is already coming. Else, if there could be a lot of customer accounts, in that case you need to go and have to search with this. So as of now in company code 1200, there is only one customer which we just created. So you will find only one. Double click on it and it will be selected. Now continue or enter. Now you can see in the general data records the general details of the customer. So you can see the name of the company, Xerox and all. If you need to fill anything over here, 132 West, house number, postal code, and all. Suppose I made the change details as now, as I just maintained the address for this, and I came to know the name of the person, and I just recorded that, maintain that, and now I need to save the data. So in this case the changes have been made. So the same way you can even change the customer master in future any number of times you want to. Now once you have changed the master data, if you want to display only, you don't need to change, but you just need to display the data. In that case, cross it and we can go to the transaction code FT03, and again you can select the customer here with this option over here, continue, and you can select this particular. You can see the detail are reflecting. Search term is Xerox, postal code is there, your city is already reflecting over here, your company name is reflecting, your customer code is reflecting. So you need to select this, and now going to continue. You can see over here display customer. So whatever details you need to check, you can check it over here. You can go to this company code data as well. This is the reconciliation account which have been assigned to it, and that's it. So this is how you can create your customer account, customer master records, and change the master data and even display the master data. So moving to the next, now we'll be doing the testing, how the customer transactions are done in the SAP system, and we check all our configurations are in place or not. So the very first transaction is posting customer invoice. Now customer invoice can be posted in two ways. One is from the finance and account side directly, and another is from the sales and distribution module, that is sales and distribution department. For booking the invoice from sales and distribution, the transactions are different, which I cannot do, or even accounts people cannot do, that are done through the sales side, and their invoice gets reflected in your customer account directly. But now we will be just posting a customer invoice directly from the finance and account side, and we'll see how the invoice is posted and how the payments are received. So the incoming payment process is simple, and only standard process is there, because payment is always received from the account side. So moving to the next is, first is for posting the customer invoice. Moving to this, the transaction code is FB70. So we'll go to FB70. This transactions allows entering the customer invoice in the financial accounting module only. Normally all the invoices are booked through billing from this SD module. It can be used to post the invoices issued in case of claims against damages. We book the invoices in financial accounting module directly only in certain cases. Those cases can be claim against damage caused by the site contractors, selling used furnitures, insurance claims could be there could be some scrap sale to the customers. So these are certain cases where the invoices are directly booked from FI module. So moving up to this, we need to select the customer first of all. So we'll go to F4 key on the keyboard, and we'll select one customer. So my customer is Xerox LLC. I need to put the date, invoice date, and the invoice date could be 08114. You need to put the amount of how much transaction you would be doing. Suppose I am going for 10,000 US dollars, and in this you can fill the text sale to Xerox. And over here, remind it this reference field is always for invoice number. So the invoice number has to be filled. Suppose the invoice number is 124. Moving next, you need to select over here is the GL account. So whenever you book an invoice for a customer, the basic accounting entry is the customer gets debited and the sales ledger gets credited. So when you select this customer on the beginning in a customer invoice, it means that the customer is will already be debited automatically. But you need to select the credit side in this. That is why you can see the credit side are displayed because the debit will be the customer. So you need to select the GL account which needs to be credited. So I would be selecting the GL account with sales will be there. So the sales ledger is selected. Credit amount 10,000 US dollars, and then you can move to the next with the help of tab on the keyboard. If you click on the tab, it will take you to the next screen. If you need to write anything as assignment number, even you can write it over here. You can write the text over here as well. Sales to Xerox. So this is what you need to do, and then you can go to this simulate option and click on it. Okay, posting period 008 is not open, so this is an error. This is how you have to look. Okay, so if you remember, to open the posting period there was a transaction code or to open a screen OB52. If you remember, for your company code 1000 variant, period is not open. Mine is this 1200. So I need to open the 8th period. Need to open the 8th period, as we are running in the 8th period from April, and in November it is 8th period now. Save it. So now enter on this screen, and you can see the details have opened up. Now you can go to the simulate option, enter, and you can see the journal entry has been reflected on the screen where the Xerox is debited and sales account is credited. You can see this with two way outs. Basically, when we debit the customer, the posting key used is 01, and when we credit any GL account, the posting key is 5050, or the amount becomes negative in case of credit GL. So this is your entry which will be made on customer invoice posting, and if you find it okay, then you can go to this save option on the screen and you can select it and it will get posted. So you can, okay, the business area needs to be mandatory. Fine, because we made the business area mandatory. So you can see there is a business area field over here. We need to select the business area, so you can go to F4 key, function 4 on the keyboard, so as to see. So if you remember, the business area we created was 1210, 1220 and 1230. So I'm selecting 1210 as a business area. Now I am again going to simulate, enter, and now I can go to this post, and we'll see that the transactions will get posted and it will generate a number to you. So you can see the number generated is 1800000. So this is the same number which we maintained as document number range. Serial number was 18 for customer invoice. So this is how the customer invoice number, document number is generated. If you want to see this document number, even you can go to /n FB03 and you can again cross check this particular document number over here, 2014 fiscal year, enter. So you can see this was the entry which took place. If you want to see the further details, over here the document number is coming, document date is there, posting date is there, fiscal year is coming, company code is coming, your dollars is coming, currency, your reference number, that is the invoice number, or you can say the bill number is coming. Then even if you want to see further details, you can go to this display document header, and you can see the document type is DR, that is customer invoice. You can see the username entered is user 10. It was entered on 8/11. So the next transaction we are going to do is to post a credit memo. What is a credit memo? Credit memo basically is giving credit to the customer. The credit may be given to the customer on various reasons. Maybe the company has overcharged the customer, or it may be that the goods have not delivered to the customer, or some of the quantity has been destroyed. Any such reasons could be there. So in that case, the credit is given to the customer because the invoice has been raised. So for example, if you have raised an invoice of $100 to the customer, and suppose he has not received the full quantity of goods which he has supposed to be receiving. So in case suppose he has received the goods of $80, in that case the $20 which the invoice is overcharged, we need to give the credit to the customer. So when we give the credit to the customer our net invoice balance to be paid becomes $80, which he is supposed to pay on that particular business transaction. So how we can post the credit memo in SAP is the transaction code for that is FB75. So we can go to this FB75, and with this we can book a credit memo. So this is a specific transaction code to booking the credit memo for a customer. Otherwise you have got another option of going to this FB70, and there are again, if you can see over here the transaction, over here you have got the second option, invoice, and then the credit memo. So it's the same thing. You can we use FB70 for basically for invoice, but if you want you can select credit memo and you can do the credit memo posting as well with the same transaction code. Whereas if you move to FB75, which is specifically for credit memo to a customer, here you can go to this transaction and you can book the invoice as well. So it's up to you which one. These are certain things which are already provided in one particular transaction. But for more specific, more clarity, there are different transaction codes have been created specifically for this. Now, so moving to book a credit memo, it's very much similar to what we did in the last transaction, that is booking customer invoice. Just a slight change is there. In that case, we used to debit the customer, but over here we would be crediting the customer with that much amount. So let's take up the customer. We can select the customer. So this is the customer I have selected. You can take the document date over here. Suppose I took the document date. You can take the amount. Suppose I take $50 only. You can give the reference number to it. You can write a text as well. uh, Credit memo on count of loss in transit. So now over here you are supposed to select the transaction, sorry, GL account. So in this case you would be taking the GL as, in the earlier for invoice we credited sales account, so over here we will be debiting the sales account, because that much amount is not termed as a sale, because net sale is 100 minus $20 is equal to $80. So that is the example. So I am taking this as $20. So we can take over here 20, then we can move to next. If you want, you can write the text over here as well. It's up to you. And you have to take the business area. So this is how it will work. And now we can go and we can simulate the transaction code, the transactions which we have done, and you can have a look. Enter that the transaction is Xerox is credited by $20 and sales account is debited with $20. So you can see this Xerox is the customer who is credited at this time, and the sales has been debited, means the reverse entry of the invoice with a parcel amount which has not been delivered. So those have been taken as a credit memo, as a credit to the customer. So we can click on the post or save option, and your transaction will get posted. So you can see the transaction document number has been generated over here. And if you want to see this document, there are two options. First is, you already know, you can go to FB03, but whenever the transaction is posted over here, you can also go to this document over here and you can go to this display. It will also show you the document from over here as well. So it is 600001. So you can see the same document has been displayed to you. So this is the document as stated. And now if you want to check the reports for this, so you can go to FBL5N again and you can have a look to this transaction. So it is /n FBL5N, and you can have a look for this particular transaction as well. Transaction is reflected over here to you. So this is over here, this 20 as a part of credit memo. Now going back, so in the same way you can go to FD10N and you can have a look at the customer balance as well. FD10N, and here you can select the customer code, the company code, and the fiscal year, and you can go and you can execute over here, and you can see you will find the period wise balances for the customer. So this is period wise, from 1st to 7th there is no transaction. In the 8th period there is 15,000, $15 to $50 is debited and this much is credited, so the net balance is 5230. So this is how you can have a look to the balance over here for the customer. Now moving to the next is, we have done with the booking of customer invoice. We have booked the credit memo. We have looked the customer line item and the customer balances. So now we'll be moving next is to the customer payment. So when you move to the customer payment, the transaction code for booking the customer payment is F-28. So moving over here, you have to select the date, posting date. Document type is by default. You have to select the company code and this period and currency. Normally few of those fields get automatically selected when we do couple of transactions for the company code. Then you have to select the account over here, the bank account by which we will be receiving the payment. So suppose I take the bank account from over here. Suppose I receive the incoming payment in the bank HSBC, so I would be selecting the bank HSBC, and the amount over here we can take. So if you don't remember the amount, you can take as $1 over here, and later on we can come back and we can make the changes. You have to take the business area over here, and then moving down you can write the text as well. Then you have to select the customer over here. So from account you can go and you can select the customer. So I have filled these details, that is what you are supposed to take, and you can go to this process open item. So open item basically means the items which are pending to complete the cycle. So we'll click on the process open item, and you can see there are two transactions. One, there is an invoice of 5250, and another there is a debit of $20 against that. So the net amount of these two will be reflecting over here, that is 5230 dollars. So how I can now change this 1 rupees which I have put initially to 5230 is that you have to go to this document overview. It will take you to the first line item which we have displayed or filled on the first screen over here, and now over here you can directly change the amount to 5230. But suppose even now I don't remember the amount, so in that case you can take star. Star automatically takes the net value which has to be taken over here. So I took the star, then I again go back to this process open item, and we'll see that the 1 rupee has $1 has been changed to 5230, and the assigned amount is this much. So the net becomes 0. That means we are ready to go for posting the transaction. And now you can go to this simulate option, and when we simulate this transaction, it gives you the debit and credit, where the bank has been debited with 5230 and Xerox has been credited with 5230. So if you find that the transaction is okay, the business area is reflected over here. The posting key 40 is for debit and 15 is for customer credit, and this 0001 and 0002 is the line item. So if everything is okay, then you can go and you can click on the save option, which is also known as the posting a transaction button. So click on this and it will get the document number which have been posted. That means the payment has been booked. Again, if you want to check this document, want to display this document, you can go over here, you can display it. Suppose you want now, after posting, you want to go back and you want some narrations to be added in that. So in that case you can go to this change option, and even you can go and you can make some changes to the document which is already posted. So if you need to do changes, you can go to this display document header. Here you can find that this is an editable field to you, and this is also an editable field to you. So reference is basically used for putting up the bill number, or you can use it for some other purposes as well, in the same way that this text can be used. So it's up to you if you want to make changes, otherwise it's fine. The user ID is coming, the date of entry is coming, the the time of entry is also reflected to you. From which login you are doing this is also reflected and all. So this is it. Even if you want, you can go to this line items also, and you can double click on any of these lines. When you double click, it will show you the details inside, and you can even make changes there. So you can see the change option is over there for assignment, where I have already added this. Wherever you want, you can add further. So this is what I added, and you can again go back and save this changes which you have done. So saving this will save it to that particular document which was posted. So this is how we will be doing incoming payment. And again, if you want, you can go back and cross check the customer ledger. So it was FPL5N. To check the customer ledger, we can move to this report, and here you need to select the customer account. Then you need to go and you can execute it. So we are executing the open items. So right now you can see the message, no item is selected. Why? Because there are only two items, one invoice and one is the credit memo, and both of them has been taken and has been knocked off, that is cleared, after the incoming payment. Against the incoming payment means the invoice, the credit memo has been offset with the incoming payment of the customer. So that means they are no more an open item, they are now cleared item, means their transaction cycle is complete. So we can go to this cleared item, and even we can execute over here, and you can find those transactions in the clear item over here. So you can see this latest we did the transaction is this one over here. This was the transaction which we completed just now, that is it, 5230. So this is, or even if you want to see this, you can select it, you can go to this display document over here, and even you can check with this further. So this is your document. So this what display this is showing you, where you're finding the GL account and the customer account. Suppose I don't want to see the customer account, I want the final GL in which this customer transaction has went to. What is the GL in which this customer transaction has gone to? How can I go for that? So for that you can go to this general ledger view. This general ledger view only gives you the ledger view, not the sub ledger, only the ledger. So it shows you the bank is debited and the finance customer is credited, sorry. So the finance customer is the reconciliation ledger which is assigned to that particular customer. Entry view, this is the Xerox, and Xerox is a customer which is a sub ledger, and the sub ledger is assigned to the ledger, that ledger is the finance customer. So this is the entry view. System always show you the entry view. Whenever you want to see the ledger to ledger view, you have to go to this general ledger view, you have to click it, and you can see that. So this is how it works, and now you have to try these things at your end so that it will give you more clarity on the subject. So now we are over with the customer invoice, credit memo, and customer payment. Now we have not yet done the cash discount which we give to the customer. So let's take up a case of cash discount, in which what we can do is we will first book an invoice, and then we will give discount to the customer at the time of incoming payment, because you give cash discount to the customer only at the time of payment only. So we'll go first to book the invoice. To book the invoice, the transaction code is FB70. So now we will be taking a practical example where we will be booking the invoice first, then again we can take some credit memo on that. So suppose I book an invoice of $10,000, and out of that, suppose $500 goods were stolen in between the transit, so the net amount comes to 500 and sorry 9500 $9,500, and out of that again I'm going to give a 5% discount to the customer as per the deal. So how we will be executing those things in the system? So let's first book the invoice, that is FB70. To book invoice, we'll be taking the same customer. So first I'm booking an invoice of $10,000. I would be taking the bill number in the reference part, suppose 501. Then you can write a text as well, customer invoice, and then you can go for a sales ledger. The sales ledger is over here as 300000, or if you have any doubt you can go and even you can search with this tab over here. So this will give you the ledger list, and out of the ledger list we can select the ledger which is needed to us. So in this we will be needing the sales account because we need to credit the sales, and the customer was already debited on the top. So, and over here we have to take $10,000 text sales to Xerox. We need to take the business area, so have taken the business area as well, and now we can go and we can simulate the transaction and we can see what is the entry which is generated. So you can say there is a warning message. We don't need to put a text over here right now, so we can enter on the screen and can move forward. So the entry generated is Xerox is debited. So for knowing what is debited, there is a plus sign, and over here otherwise you should remember that for customer debit the posting key is 01, whereas for ledger account credit is 50, and the amount is also over here with a mark minus, which means credit. So this is how it is. And on the header side, this the first box over here is termed as the header. So on the header you can see the date, posting date, document date, company code, fiscal year, period, your currency, your bill number, it is the reference has been reflected to you. So if you find everything is complete, then you can move on. You can click on the post option so as to post the transaction. So you can see the transaction has been posted again over here. If I want, I can go back and I can check my invoice with the report FBL5N as we have discussed. So you can see this, and we can go to this open item now because the invoice we posted is an open item, because it will become a complete cycle of the transaction when the incoming payment will be there. So first is the invoice, then the whole transaction goes in between invoice and incoming payment. It could be debit note, credit note and all, and then you go for the incoming payment, and then the whole particular transaction circle is complete. So you can go to this open item and you can see what are your open items left, and these are the open item only on which you receive the payments from the customer. So executing it, and you can see that there is only one particular document that is we just posted over here, 10,000 US dollars. Document number is this. Even if you need certain details, you can go to this change layout and you can add over here whatever details you need further for your clarifications. So you can see there are list over here on this side. Whatever you need you can take from this side to the other side. Suppose I need business area. Next I would be needing is, let's see what are the different things which comes up over here. So I need suppose the debit and the credit indicator, which will let you know what is debit line item and what is credit line item. moving to the next now is suppose I take the posting date as well. Now we take these all, we have selected these, we can go to this and we'll select it from the right to the left side, and you can see the business area, debit credit note, posting date has over here, and you can see these have been selected over here. So moving up over here now, D oblique C means debit credit indicator, where S basically means the debit, whereas H represents credit. So this is your report layout. As of now there is only one transaction visible to you. Now we can go back again. Let's take a new screen and we can move to the next transaction. So we have booked an invoice. Now if you want, you can again go for and you can book a credit memo again over here. So suppose the credit memo transaction code was FB75. If you go and you can have a look, FB75. So we will be booking a credit memo again. So as discussed, the $10,000 is the invoice. Suppose 500 has been lost or stolen in between as on the way. So that is what we can take as a credit memo. So the GL we will be selecting is again sales, because earlier with $10,000 sales has been credited. So now we'll be debiting sales with the amount of credit memo, that is 500. And over here you need to, you may leave everything, but you at least have to take this business area, else the system can give you error, because business area is mandatory for the transaction code. So now we can go for simulating the transaction over here. Now when we simulate, again there is a warning message on which you can press enter on your keyboard. It will take you to the next screen, and now you can see the transaction preview is reflected. And if you find that the transaction is okay, then you can go and you can post the transaction. So we have posted the transaction, the document number has been generated over here. अगर ऐसे लोग रात को ठुके हैं, कितने गंदे ठुकेंगे ये लोग, भगवान. So moving ahead, we have booked the invoice, the document has been posted. Again you can go back to the report over here. Suppose this is the report and I want to update it, so you can go to this list and you can run this refresh, and you can see the transaction has been updated on the report 500 as a negative sign. That means now the 10,000 invoice minus this 500 amount of credit memo in it. So the net payment from the customer due is 9,500 US dollars. So now moving up next is that we have booked the invoice, we have taken the credit memo. Now is the time for the incoming payment from the customer. And suppose we want to give certain discounts to the customer, how will that work? So going for the incoming payment, the transaction code is FDES28. Enter. Now we can put the details over here. Take the bank, take the business area, take the amount. I don't know the amount, so I will be taking $1. I cannot take a star in the very beginning, the system will not allow me. As you can see, it will not allow you. So we need to take over here as $1, and later on we can come back and we can fill the amount as required. Select the customer, and now you can go to this process open item, and you can see these both are already selected because these are in blue color as a highlighted part, selected one. So If you want to deselect, you can double click on that, and even you can double click, you can see the balance will change over here as you will select this or deselect it. So I have deselected both of these. That is why the value over here is 0, because I have not selected. I have not selected means I have not assigned over here as of now. So now I will be selecting first this invoice, that is 10,000 has been assigned. Next is the credit memo. So when I selected the credit memo, the net amount comes to 9500. Now I want to give discount of 5% on this amount. So the 5% of this comes out to be how much? That you need to check. So 10% is 950, so 5% is $475. So if you want to give the discount, you have to go to this discount column and you have to put the amount of discount, enter, and you will, okay, so it says that discount may be granted only up to 50 US dollars. You cannot give more than $50, because in the customization the maximum cash discount put up over there is $50. So let's take $50 as a cash discount. So once you take $50 over here, it will change the balance over here. So now the total amount which has to be taken up is 9550. Okay, so I think that I've done something wrong. I don't have to take the discount over here. I would be giving the discount on the invoice, not on the credit memo. So I have to go over here to give the discount. So here I would be taking $50. That's when I will be giving $50 as a discount. So the net amount is 9500 minus this 50 cash will come to 9450. So enter, and you will see the amount is changed to 9450 as a incoming payment. So now moving up over here, we'll be changing the amount over here, that $1 to $2450. Going to the document overview, double click on this line item, and now I can put a star on this. So this is it, the system will take the value of its own. If you want, you can put a text over here as well. Now we can again move to this process open item, and you can check that now the 9450 and is balanced, and the not assigned is come over here as a 0. So this is how you have to take. And now we can move to the simulate option. So when you simulate, you will get the document preview, and over here you can see that the customer is 9500 net receivable, and $50 is the discount given. So the net receivable is 9500 minus 50 is equal to 9450. So is it okay? Then we can move and we can click on the button to post a transaction. So selecting onto this, and the transaction has been posted over, you can see. So now suppose the transaction is posted, I want to see in my report how it will reflect when I refresh this. So when I will refresh this, it will update the transaction with the incoming payment, and it will reflect as no item selected. Why? Because we were looking after to the open items, and now the transactions have completed. That means they have turned from the open item to cleared items, because the invoice has been there, the credit memo was there, the cash discount was there, but with the incoming payment the whole transaction gets completed, the whole cycle gets completed. So if you want to see those transactions, you have to go to this cleared items, and when you click on this, select the cleared items, you can go to this execute option, and you can see the report that all those transactions have moved to the bill. So you can see the transactions. $10,000 was the invoice, 9550 was, sorry, $9,500 was the net payment which has been received, and the discount is also included in it. So this is how it works. This is how you would be doing it. Now even if you want to see the balance in the customer account, that is FD10N, you can have a look to that as well. FD10N. So we can execute the report and you can see the balances will be reflected to you as per the period wise. So you can see the 8th period has got debit and credit and the net balance is equal to 0. This is how your period wise balance is displayed on a screen, and that is what is all about customer, or you can say the account receivable. So you need to go to this. There are couple of reports which are helpful for you for customers that will be coming up in a separate training session for reports which are important for each and every sub modules when we'll be completing all the sub modules at the end. So thank you for today's session. We'll see you in the next training session.